especially early on in whatever I was doing, I would get a little bit antsy about why things weren't changing quickly enough, or kind of a sense of urgency that we had to do this, we had to do that. And I think what I learned over the years is that, yes, obviously you should do everything you can to make things happen quickly, but there are things that take time. And so, most of the things that are really valuable and that have a lot of impact do take quite a bit of time. You know, Even though it's good to have a sense of moving things along well and quickly, that you shouldn't really fret about things that weren't happening as quickly as you might want. I guess the other challenge also, and this was more recent, is feeling led or feeling God's clear leading to something that I really didn't want to do. Right. And so, I really did not, when they asked me to take over the interim dean position of the seminary, I really did not want to do that. But the Lord was clear in that leading, and I'll tell you, it was a tremendous blessing. Even though it was difficult, it was a tremendous blessing. But that, I guess you can consider that another challenge, right? That I was just saying, Lord, I don't want to do this, but again, He convicted me of the fact that that's what He was calling me to do. So off we went. Especially in the building phase, is things can take time, right? There are some businesses and some social entrepreneurial endeavors that can see success quite quickly, but I would say that's somewhat rare, right? I would say probably the average is anywhere from 3 to 5 years for things really to get going well and to build up speed. And I think that's what you kind of learn over time, is to be patient while you're doing everything you can to help them succeed. So I think that patience, and also, it can be so difficult, so many hours put in, right? And kind of that pit in your stomach when, you have to meet payroll, or, you're not getting a grant, or you're not getting an investor, whatever it might be. And so things are kind of hanging in the balance about whether you're actually going to be able to make this happen. And I'm sure people have heard this advice before, but it's just, if you feel a clear calling that this is what the Lord wants you to do, that persistence is just so important in trying to find aspects of joy and delight in what you're doing, even though it's pretty difficult. So I think that would be one. I just think it all comes back to, and I mentioned this in answer to the previous question, as you are responding again to your passion, right? Your delight in whatever idea or whatever mission or whatever purpose it is that you're trying to pursue, right? Just to always be checking back in with the Lord, and being prayerful about it. And again, right, it can be really, really tough in certain situations. You can ask yourself, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? But if it's clear, then that's what you're going to be doing. I think probably the last thing that just jumped into my mind is, I think it's always so important to remember that we absolutely cannot be measuring ourselves by success in worldly terms, but really, and I'm not the first one to say this, but really our measure of success is how faithful are we being in terms of what we're being called to do, right? And really the results are in God's hands. They're not in our hands. And we can be tremendously faithful, and the Lord can choose to bless it in worldly terms, or perhaps choose not to. But hopefully we can all be encouraged by looking back and saying that no matter what the results, yeah, I did what the Lord asked me to do, or did it to the best of my abilities.